Hello and welcome back to Bits and Bobs. In today's video we're going to have a look at the extremely rare coins of Edward VIII. Now these coins we're going to go through and have a look at each one, the rarity and the value of the coins. Now they're all rare as of course Edward VIII abdicated, only reigning between January and December of the same year in 1936, so less than a year on the throne. And due to this he had no circulating coinage struck. All that exist are an extremely rare handful of patterns and test coins from back in the day when they're testing coins but never actually made any. So needless to say, they're all very rare. So let's begin with the farthing, the smallest denomination, and then work our way up. So here is the previous design of farthing before Edward VIII, and it has the recognisable design of Lady Britannia there on the reverse of the farthing. But the new design proposed for Edward VIII was this, a wren on the farthing, the design that was eventually then used for George VI after Edward VIII. So we can see a 1937 date to the top as they're all ready for the next year, as their patterns ready for the next year to be struck, but of course he wasn't king then so they never were. So you have the date to the top, the wren, and then the words farthing to the bottom giving the value, and the portrait of Edward VIII there to the obverse, facing to the left. Now the mintage or known examples for this coin are unknown. Nobody knows how many are out there. The value is also unknown as they don't really sell, but an estimate placed by collectors and experts is around £35,000 for this farthing, so an extremely rare farthing, and of course an extremely valuable farthing. We'll now move on to the halfpenny piece, the next highest denomination, and here is the design before. This is the George V one from 1936, with having again Britannia to the reverse. Now the new design proposed for Edward VIII was this one here, featuring the golden hind to the reverse, and once again was then still used but for the coinage of George VI coming afterwards. Now an interesting fact on the portrait of the obverse there, he faces to the left, although he should face to the right, as with tradition, but he was too vain, but luckily never had any circulating coins made, so did not break the rule. Now for this halfpenny there are 3 examples known, just 3 known, giving it a value estimate of around £65,000 plus. So needless to say once again, only 3 examples, an extraordinarily rare halfpenny with a huge price, and even some catalogues like mine just say it's extremely rare and impossible to value. That's how rare this coin is, and now we'll move on to the penny, a popular pre-decimal denomination. Now for this one we have here the design before, again with the Britannia on the reverse, but unlike the other two, the reverse design did not change and remained as Britannia on the reverse of the penny. And you can see here in Edward VIII one, a very rare example held by the Royal Collection Trust, with the date there to the bottom of 1937, as like I say, they were getting ready for that year to mint coins, but never actually had to, and most of these patterns and proofs were melted down, meaning they're all very rare, only a few survived, and again lots of coin books don't know the price or mintage, can only guess at a few of these things, as it's just so rare. Now luckily for us, one did sell quite recently at an American auction for a whopping $163,000, which is £133,000 for an extremely rare Edward VIII penny. So we've got a value for that one, but a vintage is still unknown. And now onto the threepence. We see here one from 1936, the year before. Then we have the 3 oak leaves and the 3 acorns on this coin. Pretty cool design. Now here is the proposed design for Edward VIII, a different design to what was actually used and what came before. We have 3 interlocked rings there. These are the rings of St Edmund, and to me they look like signet rings, so a cool design with legend around and 3 rings in the middle, designed by George Kruger Gray, and then the portrait there of Edward VIII, which was done by Humphrey Paget, but of course never actually used. So a cool design for this proposed coin. Now, this is known mintage roughly of between 4 and 8, so there are 4 to 8 examples of this coin in the world today, so a very rare coin, with a value estimated of around £30,000 to £50,000 for this coin, so a huge value for a very rare threepence that was never actually minted, and only a few patterns exist, commanding this high price. Now a few trial pieces as well were struck for the new coin, the new brass 12-sided threepence. We see here one with a little border around the thrift plants in the centre, and as a later design, the one was actually used with no border. These new coins were planned to be released under Edward VIII, but then were later of course introduced under George VI, as by 1937, of course, he was then king. Now these coins have a known mintage. There is exactly 3 of each known, so 3 of the first type and 3 of the second type, 6 overall of these extremely rare trial threepences. We can see some information in the book of a few past listings and sellings, and a current estimate for price would be around £40,000 plus. So again, an absolutely huge price for these coins. And now we'll move on to the sixpence piece, and this is the design before. Again, we have the similar to the threepence. We have this time 6 oak leaves and 6 acorns and 6 branches, as is a sixpence. And with the same sort of style, we then have 6 signet rings, or 6 rings of St Edmund here. So we have 6 interlocked rings, a very cool design there. A shame it was not used, but cool to see nonetheless on this rare trial pattern piece of a design that was never came to be by George Kruger Gray. You can see KG there to the bottom, who actually designed the design that was used, but also designed this one that wasn't used. Now this has a mintage of around 3 to 4, so about 3 or 4 exist, or 3 or 4 are known to exist, so obviously very, very rare, and the value of this coin is around £50,000 to £75,000. So as I mentioned, Edward VIII coins are extremely, extremely valuable, whatever the coin, whatever the condition. And we'll now move on to the shilling, the next highest denomination. Here is the George V shilling, and there was only one design. Not only English or Scottish varieties, 2 types from 1 year, only one design from 1 year with no varieties. However, that was planned to change under Edward VIII, as a new style, the new Scottish shilling, was going to be introduced. Now, they didn't actually get on to striking any English ones. They planned to have both, but only a few Scottish ones exist and were struck from Edward VIII. The design once again was carried over to George VI, you might recognise it there, but was used with his portrait rather than Edward VIII, meaning Edward VIII ones, only Scottish ones exist and are very, very rare. Around again with a sixpence, 3 to 4 are known, so just a handful of them known, and a similar value estimation of around £50,000 to £70,000 for these coins. So just a true, extremely rare coin from this controversial time for the monarchy. Now then, on to the florin, and here we see the design before, with 4 crowns, 4 sceptres, 4 shields, a lot of 4s, with legend around and a G in the middle. Now here is the proposed design for Edward VIII, that was eventually used once again for George VI. We have the crowned rose and the thistle and shamrock either side, with legend around, and the portrait of Edward VIII to the obverse. So a cool coin, and would have been struck from 0.500 silver, so half silver, as with all these coins, as they had not been debased further to no silver yet at this time. It is recorded that around 3 to 4 examples are known of this coin, and it says here in the book that it is very expensive with no value estimation, and the best estimate we can find is around again similar to £50,000 to £75,000 for this coin at an auction, were it to sell to a high-end collector looking to get a very rare coin for their collection. And now we'll move on to the half crown. Here is the previous design, I'm sure you'll know, with the concave quartered royal shield, and here is the proposed design for Edward VIII. Now this is my favourite actually. We have a flag there, a flagpole waving the Royal Standard flag, the Royal Standard flag having 4 parts of course, 2 with the 3 lions of England, the Harp of Ireland to the bottom left, and the Lion Rampant of Scotland to the top right. A unique design and my favourite of the Edward VIII coinage. Now this is an ultra rare coin, and expected to fetch around £200,000 when next at auction, and it is one of only 6 still known to exist, so very rare as with all these coins. Now on to the largest and last silver denomination, it is the crown, and here we can see the Edward VIII crown. Now you may recognise the design here, as the design that was going to be used for his coronation was then used for George VI's coronation. So as with the coronation crown, we have there the crowned royal quartered shield, with the Lion of England, the Unicorn of Scotland, and the banners below, making it a cool design overall, and again with the portrait of Edward VIII to the obverse there, a very similar portrait to George VI actually. Now this coin is a mintage of around 4 to 5, so again just a few handful of examples exist, only 4 or 5 are known in the whole world. This one was at an auction recently, and it was lot 1272, with a starting price of 120,000 USD, and the price realised it sold for 300,000 US dollars. So that is extremely, extremely valuable. There was no half sovereigns made, so we'll go into the sovereign next, and here it is, a true beauty and rarity of the coin. The same design, of course, you cannot change that, the Benedetto Vespucci George and the Dragon, with then the portrait of Edward VIII to the obverse of the coin, as of course with all his coinage, done by Humphrey Paget, and was left facing, although it should have been right. The mintage of this coin is again similar to the crown, only 4 or 5 known, to just once more, a handful of examples, only a few coins for the whole world. Now a few years ago, this coin broke the record for the highest valued British coin, being sold to a private collector for £1 million British pounds. £1 million for a coin, a very high price. But that record did not last very long, as the quintuple sovereign, there was no double sovereign, then sold for even higher. So here we have the highest denomination and the highest valued Edward VIII coin. An absolutely lovely piece, 40 grams of gold, from a controversial time of the monarchy, great design, great history, extreme rarity. But how rare? Well, only 2 exist. Just 2 examples for the whole world of this coin exist, leading this coin to sell for $2.28 million, smashing the record for a British coin sold at auction. That is an absolutely huge price, and in pounds that is 1.824 million, so 1,824,000, money that could have been spent on so many things, but was spent on a British coin from Edward VIII's reign. So there we go. Please do comment down below your favourite design. As I said, mine is the half crown, and of course please do subscribe to the channel if you've learned something new and enjoyed. Of course, thank you for watching to the end. We hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you soon for more coins in the future on Bits and Bobs. Bye for now.